Hey guys, it's me again, Orc So where we last left off, let's see, checking. Bell fought. I recounted a story of how Bell fought a demon. When he was fighting Yorm, he sort of reversed back into his god form for a few moments at the most. And that's pretty much the entirety of that story. A few little things in between then and there. But anyways, Bell and them are like in the opening scene with Mikado and such. They're slicing through their enemies. And for any of y'all saying anything, some of you are probably wondering, why haven't I brought Bell's family, like Gwen and Guinevere? Because a lot of you said you did want them to bring them back. Or a few of you at the very least. I haven't brought them back yet because I haven't seen a point on where I could do it just yet. So anyways, I hope that explains it to you why they haven't been in the past few episodes yet. But the Warren Hephaestus have yet. Well, anyways. Bell and them are going through that dungeon little thing as they typically would. Bell crushing it. Mikado and them are doing very similar. Bell level up through that instinct, so he's level 2 now. But did I say he was level up before after he fought the dragon? Probably not. He leveled up. He's level 2 now. And he's made that within a few months, which is still getting some talk around town. Some are even saying how he killed Goliath all by himself. With that being said, though, we cut to that bar scene with the little short guy. He starts trying to get under Bell's skin. Bell pretty much ignores him. Pretty much telling Welf and Lily just to ignore him. There's no point in answering to this guy's thing. Especially since they're part of the Apollo Familia, as he was saying. It's like special. Well, he more or less says that underhandedly. Like, don't mess with them. Don't worry about them, guys. They're nothing but runts. Especially since they're part of the Apollo Familia. So I'm like, what'd you say? It's like, oh, nothing. I just said since you're part of the Apollo Familia, you guys are probably a bunch of wretches. It's like, say that to my face. It's like, I just did. Obviously, you guys aren't even the sharpest tools in the shed either. As a few of these guys start standing up, alright. They're like, you want to do this here now? He's like, hey, throw a punch first. I'll call self-defense then. Well, that's if you can even hit me. Few of them are like, alright. As they get closer, Bell stands up. They are in the process of throwing a couple punches. Bell grabs the guy's face and pretty much lifts him up by his head. Saying, anyone else? No? Alright then. He spins around and throws the guy into the wall. I'm glad we didn't come to the hosted fertility tonight. Oh my god. After throwing that guy into the wall, the redhead, he has brown hair, never mind, comes waltzing up. The height difference between him and Bell is crazy. So when he tries to masterfully pretty much put Bell on his back, Bell he goes to sweep Bell's leg as Bell's leg just stays there. But the guy's leg breaks as he put a lot of force into it, knowing that it would take a bit more. As he's like, my leg, Jesus, fuck. He's like, Jesus, never heard that, God. Anyways, as he lifts him up, tell Apollo to fuck off as he throws the guy. Bell got a bit agitated, as you could say. You may ask, why? Well, these guys were very pompous and arrogant, and seemed to be quite conniving, as you could say, so it kind of reminded him of his father. He respected and loved his father to a degree, but he also hated him It's a weird relationship. You could tell that they were probably trying to trick him. He fell right into their trap, though, so... He's like, hopefully Apollo doesn't have this weird obsession with me, like with so many others. He's a freak, I tell ya. Anyways, after leaving, he then gets contacted the same way by redhead and blue hair. By blue and red. Both of them telling that he's been invited. Belle accepting this and telling Hestia. They arrange for him to receive some nice clothes, as you would say. Belle asking for something to cover his face, that he doesn't like being out in the open. So like, alright. So they give him a nice face wear and such to like hide his face. Belle comes walking up. His thing is black with like, looks like gold or something. Not tuxedo or anything, but it looks nice. Belle and them walking up there. Belle being extraordinarily much taller than anyone, not extraordinarily, but being quite a bit taller than anyone there. Belle speaking with Hestia, and as Hestia is gathering her food, as Hestia is gathering her food and such, Freya still does the whole thing and walks over. Belle's like, please don't notice me, please don't notice me, please don't tell, please tell me you don't know who I am, as he takes a knee. No, not takes a knee, but looks down at her like, Goddess Freya, it is a pleasure. Not saying anything about her looks like probably most men would, but he's like, Goddess Freya, it is a pleasure to see you. And finally meet you. I've heard much about you. And this must be your favorite? I don't know the correct word to say for these. He's my strongest adventurer. Say hello. Hello. Shake hands. Hestia pretty much telling Bella the same thing. Her not being as freaked out because Belle doesn't really show that much interest. He's just really being an adventurer. As he shakes the hand with this dude. This guy sort of doing, like, gripping his hand, like, putting a lot of force into it. Belle having to reciprocate it. Because this guy is, I believe, level 7. Belle's like, strength-wise, I believe he'd be comparable to Solaire. Not Havel, but Solaire, I'd say. When Solaire got to level 10, this guy, he was on an entirely different level than most people here when it came to strength. But I'd say Ornstein could take him. I think all of them could take him, really, in fact. Maybe, except for Quaylana. She was never really the aggressive type, so... Him saying that, he pretty much turns to Hestia and speaks with her for a bit. Even seeing eyes and Loki and Belle looking each other in the eyes like, hello, Goddess Loki, how have you been today? I have been doing well, Belle, how are you today? Hestia's like, I didn't realize you two knew each other. We ran into each other a few times, going by the hostess fertility and such. You know, usual. Yeah, and he's quite funny, Short Stack. You sure got a good one. Wish I could have snatched him up for you before you got him. He's like, no way, Loki, he's mine. And he speaks, Eyes, you look very pretty tonight. Eyes giving a bow. Like, thank you, you look very handsome tonight. But what's with the face covering? He's like, I get nervous in crowds, you see. Ah, I see. With them continuing to speak, and Belle eventually, after being in there for a while, leaves, because he doesn't like crowds. Sure, he'd show himself off in front of, like, those, like, propaganda parades, but that's pretty much it. As he, like, sat down, he notices the guy speaking. Belle's like, who the hell is that? I don't know. But then, somebody arrives, and for our special guest tonight, we have the god Gwendolyn. As there's a very special announcement. Now, as all of you may know, Gwendolyn is one of the oldest, well, not one of the oldest, but one of the first gods to arrive here on the planet, or on the Earth. We want to give him a special welcome, and where's your child, Gwendolyn? My children were busy in the dungeon. Belle's like, shit. I did not expect my brother to be here. Alright, keep calm. Maybe he doesn't notice you. As he's still sitting out there, sort of quietly panicking in his own head. And then Hermes comes around. So, Belle, how have you been? He's like, I've been good, Hermes. Anyways, it was like, did you hear? Gwendolyn's here. Gwenda who? Yes. It's not one of the more well-known gods. He's a god of the moon. He's like, looks out. You sure that's a man? I know, it's weird. Anyways. Have you ever gonna ask guys to dance? He's like, nah. I can't dance. At all. It's like, oh, well, that's too bad. As he goes to walk away and does the exact same thing, Belle like, why? It's like, dance with her. He's like, I'm too tall. And does the whole shrinking thing that I had him do to Artorias. Now, I'm pretty sure he's around 8 feet tall, maybe. I don't know. He just shrinks him to enough of a size to make it even count. As he's shrunken, there we go, shrunken down to a size that would make suitable to dance with, Eyes starts dancing with her. Belle has left his weapon, so thank God, thank himself, Gwendolyn won't notice. As Belle's dancing with Eyes, he's starting to get pretty well with it. As then, eventually, Apollo comes walking down his little walkway, making the exact accusations he does in the beginning, and this may sound dumb to a lot of you. I'm questioning to myself that I should do this so many times, but I'll say screw it. He does. As then one of his quickest children rush in and grabs Belle's face mask. Like, now let's see who you look like. As Belle's like, oh, Gwendolyn starts going like, he seems familiar. As he comes closer, looking him dead in the eyes, he's like, Rob? It's like, why? It's like, from a bunch of whispers start going around the room. Everyone's like, what's up? Hestia is even like, Faram. Wait a second, as there's a loud Faram. As Gwendolyn is like, brother. He's like, shit. All the children are like, wait, brother, what's going on here? It's like, as Apollo regales him with the tale on the nameless king, he's like, does everyone know that God? Does everyone know? Well, I guess not everyone knows, since it's a secret religion. The lizard men, as one of them standing there, why don't you explain to all the people here who is the nameless king? As the lizard folk begins to speak, explaining that the nameless king was, well, a person that saved them from being enslaved, and that even turned against his own family to stop it, killing thousands in the process, but at the end had disappeared, as he would say. They sort of changed it to the fact that he disappeared instead of dying, because that's kind of depressing. Then saying on how the lizard men have always worshipped him after that. And do you know what he was? As he says, he was the nameless king, the dragon-slaying god of war and master at arms. Best title. Eyes. Yes, eyes. Jesus, this is... Wallenstein's eyes widen as she hears the whole dragon slaying god of war. As several of them Wait, what? I thought the only god of war was like Ares and what was her name? I forget all their names. As several of them started speaking. Yes, but here he stands before us. He had died in the final battle with his father, but for some reason he yet lives. Can you tell us why? And what if so? Why are you human? Bell's like, sort of just standing there quietly. He's like, as you can see, he has no words to speak. Who knows, maybe he made a deal with some sort of nefarious creature. Or maybe he's just here because of the worship of a proxy that was the proxy worship. So, Lizardmen, you can tell them that Faram is back and actually spread his name. Bell's like, no! As several of them like look at him. I'm no longer a god. I'm but a man. Like, that brings me to my second point. Everyone, this man attacked one of my children. Bell's like, oh shit. As then he goes on to explain the whole thing. Bell pretty much saying, yes, I did that. But they attacked me first. Yes, but you egged it on. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But who knows? Your children have been known to rotten, stalker. As he says that, oh, Bell, or should I call you Faram? You hurt me so much with those words. So deeply saddens me. As Hestia's like, wait, did anyone else know he was a god? Loki's like, me. It's like, anyone else? Thor and Hephaestus. It's like, you told them. It's like, they sort of figured it out. Remember that silverback gorilla? Yeah, then. Anyways, so what Apollo? As he then challenges Bell to that whole thing, Bell thinks it over and says, you really want to pick a fight with me? She's like, I would love to. Bell pretty much telling Hestia that we're doing this. They're like, alright, we'll assemble. As Bell and Hestia walk out, Hestia's confused. Everyone in that entire hall is confused. After a little bit, Gwendolyn rushes off after him like, Bell, we need to talk. Now. It's like, come on, Gwendolyn, we're going to the church. We can talk there. As Bell and them sit down, Bell gives the explanation to Gwendolyn. And he asks about his sister. She's like, I've seen her a few times. She's doing quite well now. But now, with the news of your return, things could get complicated. Yeah. Anyways, why didn't you come to me? Well, fair, I didn't know you were alive. Second off, I'm a human now. What would you have me done? Join your covenant? Or, sorry, familia? It's weird. Yeah, I know. We used the word covenant before, now it's this. Like, well, whatever. Anyway. If you don't mind, I'm gonna be thinking of ways on destroying Apollo. Apollo and that whole deal with the Soma familia. Soma tries to kidnap Lily still. Soma is the one to try and snatch up Lily, as Bell and them were attacked by them and rushed. They go in and save her, Bell pretty much striking fear as he bashed his way through the gate and jumped up to Soma, pretty much grabbing him, telling him, Soma, free Lily now, and get them to stop. You're a god. You should act more like one instead of putting your face in your hobby like this. Oh, you're so blind. It's almost ridiculous how much people joined us familia for that stupid wine of yours. Like, really? Is it stupid? Fine, try it. As Bell tries it, he's like, oh, that's good, but as he starts shaking off his head, I may no longer be a complete god, but I've still had stronger stuff. Oh, this is starting to give me a headache. Oh, my head. what did you put in this? He's like, that's a failed batch. That explains it. Anyways, can you get them to stop fighting, please? As Belle's like grabbing his head. He's like, I will if Lily, as Lily comes rushing in and doing the scene, saying that she wants him to stop the fight. As that whole thing goes on about, with the guy rushing in to try and slash Lily, Belle grabs him and pretty much breaks his arm. Should discipline your children more often, Soma. As he then knees the guy, sending him flying through the door. As that's taken care of. As I continue, as for the Apollo fight, Belle goes at it alone. I believe they have 100 men in that fortress. Belle's like, alright. He wants to go at it alone. He's pretty much walking as he starts doing like little rituals, you would say. As then two magic swords hit the walls and decimate them. Lily employing her same strategy, but Belle's going through the walls and smashes through one of them and destroys and cuts down, quote unquote, several of the Apollo familia, taking out dozen when he just got inside the fortress, using lightning spear and causing destruction. Mikado rushing in, and Ryu dealing with that elf dude and such. Belle and Welf rushing towards that entrance, or the gate. Belle pretty much smashes his way through the Apollo familia, with Welf taking care of Redhead. Belle using his lightning and throwing it up through the underground like he does in the anime, except it's lightning, not fire, and destroys Ponytail, not needing help from eyes and such. As they finish with that nice little fight, Belle pretty much is victorious, and that's pretty much it. The girl did try to wrap herself around Belle, but it didn't work at all. Belle pretty much jumped at the guy with her on him and pretty much smashed the dude into the ground. That being said, Belle lets off a victorious shout like, yeah! I can't do a shout. Anyways, that being said, they all take the Apollo house and they keep it like they usually would. Sorry. Belle and them still having the events transpire as they typically would. Belle fetching the pillow for the girl and such, seeing through, believing in her as he believes in his own. As Belle and them, like, since the news now has become widespread that Belle was a god at one point, several people want to talk with them, several archaeologists, librarians, and such. Several of them asked, does he still have his god powers? Belle pretty much just ignoring these people in their entirety. One night when everyone's sitting down for dinner, Belle says that he doesn't want anyone new coming to the Hestia Familia, just in case they just want to talk with him and see if he can do something, like if he can start his own Familia, because he'll say it right away he can't, nor does he have the desire to. He enjoys going into the dungeon, it's fun. Everyone's like, I did not know you were going to address that, I thought we would have to. He's like, I'm a very straightforward person. Anyways, several of them are like, can you tell some stories about, like, did you have a Familia? He's like, as he leans back in a giant chair, he's like, yes I did. Yes I did. As he's reminiscing, can you tell us who they were? He's like, very well. I'll tell you about the first one, for now. His name was Solaire. He was the very first one to become part of my Familia, along with the Ferosa warriors that fought beside him. Ferosa warriors? Never heard of them. It would make sense. They were never part of this part of history, you would say. But they were some of my most trusted warriors. Greatest warriors I've known, aside from the Silver Knights. So, like, Silver Knights, or the Black Knights, or the iron dragons. Okay, hang on. You're gonna start explaining all this to us. As Bell starts explaining to them a lot of the history, he talks about Havel, Solaire, Ornstein, even Goth and Quaylon and Quaylag. He explains to them all of this. And that's the history. As their minds are just blown. So everyone's like, wow, I didn't even know that. Like, how long ago is this? From what I can tell, about 1,000 years. They're like, whoa. So, what? So, yeah. You killed your father, yep. With everything you had and became mortal, and now you're back? He's like, yep. None of this makes sense. He's like, indeed, it doesn't. But as that he stands up, Mikado had left a little bit after, like a little bit before him. He's like, well, I'm gonna go to bed. Have a nice night. As Bell notices Mikado. Mikado and her sister trying to sneak off, or her friend. Bell and all of them follow. Bell following again, and this time he's like in a hood trying to hide his face. As they walk after him, he gets dragged away by one of the ladies, or I think it's an Amazon, running away. And events transpire very similarly, except for the sense that the Amazonians use something to weaken him. He's like, oh god, what did you do? As Bell's strength is sort of sapped from him. Instead of him just being overpowered, they drag him away. He's like, come on, stop it. Bell's speaking very loudly, I don't want to go. As the Amazon saying, I wonder what happened. Like, they talk about how they never been with a god or not god like him. It's like, God help me. It's like, oh. As when Ishtar noticed them and noticed who Bell was, she thought that she'd just give him to her Amazons. Not enough men like Bell. Plus, she already has a guy in mind. Poor Hermes. Event transpiring very similar to how they transpired in the anime. Him running away, him dodging left and right and such, and getting away. For all that happening, Bell manages to just get into Haruhime's thing, with her trying to push Bell over, but she's like, come on, push. Bell's like, can you, like, stop? I'm not here for that. It's like, some of the Amazons were chasing me, so I needed to play stuck and hide. This is the first place I found. Him explaining to her. It's like, oh, okay. As he's like, do you mind if I just stay here for a bit? Like, yeah. As they sit there in awkward silence. He's like, Ma, hear some stories about some heroes? She's like, yes. As he's like, as he starts regaling her with some of the tales of Solaire. As he's like, this is the story of Solaire, the first sunlight warrior. As he then explains to her Solaire's entire story. As she's like, oh, that's so cool, Mr. Bell. He's like, it's no problem. Except altering some of the parts where he was in it, just saying it's apparently some nameless god that nobody knows. Trying to keep him being a god on the down low, even though a lot of people already know. So, Or he was a god, as some people know. Him eventually escaping, like he did in the anime. Running away. And he does have that thought in his mind. He's like, I'll save her. Get her out of that thing. She was nice to talk to. And, who knows, maybe her and Mikado and her sister came looking for somebody. That must be who that is. Hermes still talks about Bell to Ishtar about how Freya wants him too. Ishtar's like, Eventually, pretty much transpired the exact same way. Belle questions Hermes about the whole killing stone and such. They get pretty much quartered off with, instead of Belle being quartered off pretty easily, well, he puts up another fight, but like in my Berserker one, he gets shot with a bunch of sleep darts and falls asleep. Being chained up and actually being dosed with a double dosage with his superior physiology. Him pretty much saying that, as he's still very weak, as when the frog, Toad, comes back and does the thing, he's like, "Get off me now." It's like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll have you like a rabbit and eat." Ugh. Creepy lady. As in, Haruhime comes to his rescue and lets him out. He's like, "Thank you so much. That frog lady scares me. I've been around quite a few things my days." Like, "You're welcome, Mr. Bell." It's like, "Thank you, Haruhime. But what about my companion, Mikado?" It's like, "She'll be fine. She'll be fine." It's like, "Thank you, Haruhime." As they start running and they try to get her to come with, Aisha doing the thing. He had to go along his way and grab his weapon as well. They somehow manage. Well, actually, that's a very difficult question. How did they get his weapon? It's very difficult. And for this to be said, for his weapon, when it's almost picked up by like anyone other but him, it's very similar to Thor's hammer in that aspect, in that sense. So that way it doesn't it's not caving in the ground. It's heavy, really heavy, in the sense of like Thor's hammer. It's not that you have to be worthy, but in the sense it's pretty much tailored to him and him alone. Like it's like bound to him in a weird way. So unless you're not really related to him in any sort of way, or have power that's related to him, you aren't going to be able to lift it, really. When, like, later on, it's a weird way to explain it. It probably messes up something I've said, but oh well. Yeah. Anyways, as Bell and them run away, he has his weapon, and they all run. Bell and them eventually hatching the same plan to bust Haruhime out, deciding that his father would have sacrificed so many people just to win the war. He stepped in and caused even more death. But if he did not save that one innocent life, he would no longer. He couldn't be who he is anymore. Rushing the thing, not even hiding himself, he jumps up where that ritual would have taken place and pretty much stands there, knowing that they have to be right there for that ritual. Bell standing there with his weapon in the same pose of the statue, like with his, and it's kind of stormy too. There's the wind's flapping and everything, and he's standing there, breathing in and out. As Toad and all of them say, "Hey, it's him." As Bell has readied himself, chanting some words, causing the storm in a way, saying, "By the earth and sun, by the sky, I ask you, grant me lightning and sunlight. Bring down lightning upon these foul people who would destroy and kill lives." Not exactly, but this is pretty much what he's thinking. "Oh, help me strike down my enemies' lightning or sunlight. Be as purified as you have always been. Strike down my enemies and strike down those who oppose me. Lightning storm. Or lightning's point. Or something. I don't know." Haruhime pretty much, as lightning starts striking all around them, Bell shouts out for Haruhime to get over here. The people have dropped her chains. He's like, "Alright. Stay behind me and you shall be alright, Lady Haruhime." Aisha and all of them come rushing in. Bell pretty much takes his weapon and buffs him with a bit of lightning. Buffs himself with a bit of lightning and smashes away all of them. Especially the Toad, pretty much striking her straight down through the floor, with fire and everything going off as well, since the lightning is striking all around. Bell waits there as Freya goes up to meet Ishtar. Ishtar trying to run away again, but with the lightning strikes, well, the tower is damaged and she can no longer run. Aisha pretty much challenges Bell to a one-on-one fight after hearing from Ishtar who he is. He's claiming that, from what she's been told, that he was the leader of some sort of warriors known as the Warriors Ferosa, powerful barbarian berserkers, as they were known as. Bell's like, they were much more than just barbarians. They were my friends. And my sons. What of it? That must make you like some sort of barbarian king. Say, the nameless king if you want to be precise. But yes. Bell says, so, you wish for a fight? She's like, as she pulls out her giant sword, indeed. He speaks Haruhime. Give her the buff. And she's like, are you sure? Bell's like, yes. For I wish her to be at her highest. And for that, I shall also cast this. As he casts Sacred Oath to assist her. Now she has, technically, I think she was level 4 or 5? 4? Yeah. Now she's up to the level 6, which is Aiza's level, I believe. She coming rushing in, Bell blocking her blade with his own, as there's like a little bit of a nice little clash and gust of wind. Bell's like, Indeed, with 2 buffs, you are indeed strong, Aisha of the Amazons, and daughter of Ishtar. She's like, and you are strong, Bell Crenel, or Bell, or Faram, whichever you prefer, the nameless king. As he then throws her back, coming in smashing blades again. It's like, as he starts pushing her back. In power, you are no match for me. But I will not tell you surrender, for that is not the way of a master at arms. Fight until you can no longer fight. Fight until your weapons is broken. Fight even after that. That is the way of a master at arms. Now come! Bell lunging forward and smashing his weapon into her own. After several powerful strikes, her blade shatters as Bell pretty much kicks her. He then stabs his weapon into the ground. If you have no weapon, then fight with your fist! Him smashing it down. She starts charging up her like little thing. Him getting blasted with that, getting hit with it, causing a bit of damage as Bell then's like, Sacred Oath. Well, not Sacred Oath, but Thunderclash, as he brings down a lightning strike directly on her, stopping her. Her being stopped completely. As she lays there, almost unconscious, she's like, well done, nameless king. As she falls unconscious. After that, the storm ends, and Haruhime is helped up. As Bell looks up at Freya, he's like, oh, Freya. Ishtar and her did, well, I guess Ishtar had a one-sided rivalry with Freya. Ishtar could never stand up with Freya, though. But then again, Freya could never stand up to my sister. That was the thing most gods agreed on. But Freya wasn't much like Ishtar for her jealousy. She acknowledged my sister's beauty even at some points. Was actually quite happy for her. But his sister, from what he's heard, is doing well, but isn't the same. As he finishes that sentence, he then looks to the sunrise set and pretty much gets in the pose. As Haruhime's like, what are you doing? Praising the sun. Praise the sun. It's like, praise the sun indeed, Father, from heaven. See you. Good, nice work, Faram. As then he walks away, returning to the rest. That's where I'll be ending this for now. There's no reason for Hestia to get all huffy and puffy and running away, so yeah. Anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this series, and maybe I'll bring it back, next time. Anyways, let me grab something real quick. I'll be drawing another thing for the next Bell What If, so if you'll excuse me real quick. And hey guys, sorry for the really long video, but I hope y'all have enjoyed this nice little finale for this series. Bring it up around. Flipped it up on its head. One, two. Oh, this is one I wrote a while ago. This next Bell What If will be what if Bell was like Gandalf. So this will be neat. And this will be fun. Anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this, and I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.